Alright, GameDev crew, welcome to week 1 of GameDev, where we play chess. Hopefully you watched the lesson video where I gave you a demonstration of all those different moves. I'll go over them really briefly again here real quick, using a board so I can show you. But something I didn't mention in the lesson that I want to show you here is what's called algebraic notation for chess. That sounds scary. Did I hear algebra? Don't worry, we're not doing any math. It's simply a way of recording the moves that you make so that you can analyze and recreate the game that you played and improve upon it. But it's also a way that people were actually able to play chess games, entire chess games, completely in correspondence. Back way before we had email or even telephones, people would write each other moves. There's also tons of books written about chess and chess strategy, all of which use algebraic notation as a quick hand for understanding what moves are being made. So it's worth it and kind of cool just to learn it, and it's really not that hard. If we were in my classroom, we'd be playing on boards, and you'd notice on those boards that they have both letters and numbers. The numbers represent what are called the rank, and the letters represent what is called the file. Any given square on the board is really just a combination of the rank and the file. Right? So this square, for instance, is E4, right? E4, right here. Right? This one over here is C5, C5. So whenever you move a piece, you really just need to name what piece you're moving and to what square they're moving to. It's that simple. The only thing you really need to know now is how to represent the pieces, and that's usually just by a single letter. Now there's a lot of different ways that people approach algebraic notation, but I'm going to go ahead and show you the way that you're going to see on chess.com where we're going to play. Pawns are the only piece that don't get any letter designation at all. If you're moving a pawn onto a square, all you have to do is list that square name. So let's say I'm moving this pawn to, off my home row. I'm going to move it 2 the first time, so I'm going to move it to E4. So to write that move, all I type is E4. Rooks are, you guessed it, R's. Okay. Knights, even though the word is spelled with a K, like knight in medieval times, are actually represented by the letter N, because K is actually reserved for king. So N represents knights, B for bishops, Q for queen, and K for king. Pretty easy. So let's say in this starting setup here, I want to move my knight from B1 to C3. The way I'd write that is knight to C3. Now there's other forms where you actually have to write the spot where it's starting and the spot where it's going to disambiguate the move. There's actually some cases where you might need to do that, because you might have 2 knights that are able to move to the same square, and if you only write this, then you may not actually know which one. So in some cases you might something like knight from B1 to C3, and you would write it with a dash in the middle, just like that. Okay, now that's movement. You write it a little bit different if you're going to capture a piece. Let's say that there just happened to be an enemy pawn here on this C3 square. Here you do have to write the piece and the square it's moving from, and then the captured space. From here it would be like knight at B1 captures C3, right? And if it were something more than a pawn, then you just put the letter ahead of it. Let's say it was the queen that was on C3 there. So you would say knight at B1 captures the queen at C3. And that's pretty much it. That's how it goes for all the pieces. There's 2 other things you do have to note down. If you ever make a move that results in a check, right? Not checkmate, but check. Then immediately following that move, you just put a plus sign. So let's say for whatever reason, you capturing this queen, maybe the king was up here or something, so your knight is here and the king is here. Well, that means that king is in check, right? So my move from B1 to C3, put that king in check. So I put a little plus sign at the end. That means check. What you're really trying to do is get in checkmate, right? And the way that you write that is 2 plus signs. So let's say for whatever reason the sport is, the game went this way, but let's say that that king that was up here is no longer just in check, but it's in checkmate. Notice that we're not, writing anything to do with a square that the king would be on. We're only saying that the move that I made with my knight resulted in a checkmate. All right, so what you guys are gonna do this week, you're gonna play a game, and whether you play that game at home, if you play it at home, then you're gonna be writing this, by hand and then transferring it to the document that I have on Google Classroom as one of your assignments. If not, the much easier way is to play a game on chess.com. It'll record all the moves for you, and then you can just download the file. I'm going to show you how to get up on chess.com here and how to add each other as friends, because I do want you guys playing with each other. All right, when you go to chess.com, this is the screen you're going to see. If you go ahead and hit sign up, then it'll take you to here. I've already signed up. Go ahead and try and do it with your school email. It may not work because it may send a confirmation email, and it's unlikely that you'll get a confirmation email from anyone outside of the Monrovia Schools domain. So if it doesn't work with your school email, then use a personal email to do it. You select a username, an email, password. If you feel like you're pretty competitive, then go ahead and shoot for intermediate there. But otherwise, stick to beginner. If you've really never played before, then go ahead and do new to chess. Anyway, after you create your account, you're going to see a screen like this, and this is your home screen. It's free to play, which is great. You're also able to access this account on a mobile device, so either through the Google Play Store or the App Store on iOS. If you search chess.com, you'll see the chess.com app, and you can log into your account there and play games on your phone, which is nice and convenient. But anyway, once we're in here, go ahead and hover over the connect button, and this is where you're going to be able to access your friends, and you can add friends, all right? If you click on friends and go to add to invite friends, what I'll do is I'll post a question on the Google Classroom where you can all put your chess.com username. That way we have a reference of everyone in the class and their chess.com username, so you can add people that way. But simple enough, all you have to do is add the username here, request, and you should see a friend request in there. And playing a game with a friend is really easy. Just hit this new game button at the top, select play with a friend. You'll have your friends list down here. Just select who you're going to be playing, and then it'll start a game for you. Alright, so once you finish the game, just like I said, you see it recorded all the moves over here, which is actually pretty cool. And you can choose to play a time game, which is kind of fun. It forces you to really think on your feet. So to see the interface, it makes it easier just to click the X here. So you see this whole list, but what you're looking for is this download button right here. And what it'll do is it'll download a really simple text file of all the moves that were made. Alright, so what I want you to do with that is copy and paste it into this game of chess document here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and select everything, copy and paste it down in here. Alright, you can keep all this up here. This tells me like who played who and when you played it, and it's kind of nice, so don't get rid of any of this information up here. But what I would like you to do is actually just make this a little prettier for me, because it's pretty ugly. What you'll notice is the moves actually right here. This big nasty mess is the time that move was made on the clock. Go ahead and keep that. It's going to be more work for you to delete all that than it would be just to keep it. But you can see the turns that were taken. So this is turn 1, right? This is white's move on turn 1, and then this is black's move on turn 1, all right? Here's turn 2, so just put your cursor before there and hit return to bring it to the next line, right? And I can see black's turn 2 move is right here, so I'm actually going to back that up to here, right? And here's turn 3, right? Here's turn 4, here's turn 4. You guys actually may be wondering what exactly that is, right? If you're watching that game, yeah, he actually did a castling move, and that's a notation for castling. That's one of those more advanced moves I was talking about in the lesson. All right, so there we go. That's nice and pretty, right? So I have turn 1, turn 2, 3, 4, each on its own line. That makes it a lot easier for me to see. So if you could do that, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it. That's it. For this assignment, I just need you to play someone in the class, record your game here, bring that information in, and that's it. Just turn it in once you've done that. The other assignment is just a quick review of your experience. I want you to consider some of the things you felt, some of the things you thought while playing a game of chess. Whether it was your first time or you've done it a million times before. I have some starter questions here. Like I was saying in the lesson video, experience is everything when it comes to game design, right? You always need to be aware of the experience you're having, whether you're designing a game or whether you're playing a game. Because if you're designing a game, you better be playing your game too, to try to have some idea of what the experience is, since that's really what you're crafting. So I want you to look into that game a little bit, but look into more than just the game itself. Look into how you were feeling, whether you had times of excitement, whether you were having fun, felt yourself thinking a certain way at any time or applying certain strategies. Go ahead and talk about what it was like playing online, because the venue that you play a game in can change a lot about a game too. Kind of game you played. Did you play a game of bullet chess, where you each had only 1 minute on the clock, or did you let it, did you give yourself plenty of time to where you could really sit and think about your move? That can really change a game of chess as well. I only want you to fill out the rest of the page here, so it's not too much to write. But I do want you to really dig deeper than your average response of, oh, it was fun, I like the moves. That's not a really good analysis of an experience. Try to dig down and find as much as you possibly can about how it felt to play chess. Okay? That's all I need you guys to do this week. All right? Have fun and see you next time.